Hi everyone, Louise from 805 Soap. How you doing? Today I was going to talk about wholesale accounts, and I have a couple of wholesale accounts that I make large amounts of soap for, and I wanted to share with you just a little bit about how to handle them and what to do. So the first thing you should do is have lots of molds, lots and lots of molds, whether it be log molds or plastic molds. This is what's going to make your job a lot easier and to get the job done if you're making 50 to 100 bars and you want to work quick, you want to get it done, and you want to be able to get the customer their soap. So what you do is you get some really good molds and you work from there. Then you get a design and you sell the customer that soap over and over again for their shop or what have you. I have a lot of freedom in my wholesale accounts. My wholesale accounts don't ask me for fragrance oils. I give them what I choose, which is really nice. They'll take pretty much anything that I have. So I have a pretty good stock of fragrance oils that I mix up every month for them. When I do wholesale accounts, I put out about 3 or 4 fragrance oils to begin with. And then I come over here and I cut up all of my soap. I use this handy dandy knife here to cut my, it's got a lot of soap on it because I was cutting it this morning. My soap comes in logs like this from SFIC, and I pay a little bit more, but it's easier for me to work with. It's fast and it's quick. I take that and I cut it up in little slices like this. I take that knife and I take it and I cut it in slices, and then I take the slices and I cut them down the middle, and then I cut them in cubes, in 1-inch cubes, and I make buckets of them like this. So I get everything prepared. I have 2 or 3 of these buckets here. I have all of my white soaps in here and my clear soaps over here, and this is how I start out. I get everything prepared so I can, if I have, let's say I have to do 8 log molds. Well, I'm going to have a lot of soap cut up and melted in order to do that. I still use a microwave to melt my soaps. And I'll show you this because this is dirty because I was soaping yesterday, but I use my containers here. Okay? So those are all going to be washed out from yesterday and all cleaned up and get ready for today. I've washed them before, but now they need to be cleaned up. I use glass containers to measure out all of my fragrances. Do not use plastic. Plastic will melt and your fragrance oils will go right through the bottom and make a big mess. Ask me how I know. I've done it. So glass containers that you use for your fragrance oils. Little Coca-Cola glasses work great. I mean, because sometimes if I'm doing a lot of soap, I need 2 or 3 ounces of fragrance oil, and that's what I do. I do measure everything. I measure out exactly what I'm going to be melting, because when you're doing a lot of soaps, you just don't want to pour the fragrance oil in there. You want to measure everything out. That's how you can lose some money. If you're doing 48 ounces of soap, I want to make sure I get an ounce or an ounce and a half of fragrance oil in there. I don't want to be putting 2 and 3 ounces in there. You don't have to use that much. Depending upon your fragrance oils. I know my fragrance oils, I know what I use, but it can add up if you don't measure everything out. And I see a lot of people, sometimes they'll be on YouTube and they'll just be pouring it out, just, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Well, why are you losing money? Well, that's probably one of the reasons. These are my shreds that I make for the soaps. That is my 5-year-old grater. That needs to be cleaned, but it will be cleaned after I get done soaping because that's the way it looks after you do it. I make these molds here. These are 1-pound molds that I make, and this mold here is from the Dollar Tree. It holds 16 ounces. You get 4 of these for $1, I believe there. So, and I have a lot of them. So, I mean, I'm a making machine here. I'm not messing around when I'm making 100 bars of soap in a day or a day and a half. I want to make it, and I want to make the money now. The The molds are an investment. You're going to have to get the molds to make the investment in order to make the soap. Anything that you see here that's used here is not used in my kitchen. I don't bring it back into the kitchen. I bring it in there to wash it up, but I don't use it, or I don't use any of this stuff in my household. All of this stuff was bought from the Dollar Tree or Big Lots or something that if it has to be thrown away, it has to be thrown away, and it's not used again in the kitchen. That's just me, only because there's colorants and fragrance oils being used. So yesterday, I made about 60, 70 bars of soap. I've still got about 30 or 40 to go. Big bottles of alcohol, lots of rubbing alcohol. I was buying it in these containers from Rite Aid, but now I'm buying it by the gallon. I found Smart & Final sells it by the gallon, which for me is a great deal because you use a lot of rubbing alcohol, and I want to get it the cheapest, and I want to keep it in my studio and always have it here. I don't want to be making soap without it. But this is basically what I did. I have about, I don't know, probably about 20 of these molds to make it out. So yesterday I used all of them. And then here was some of the end product. Okay. So making 68 bars of soap in a day is good. I'll be doing the packaging tonight and getting it ready, and she'll have it probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. And she called me. So, it can be done. You have to be prepared. You have to have your supplies on hand. You have to, in my opinion, just be prepared to work at it, and do it and follow through. So, how do you get a wholesale account? Well, you got to go out the door. You got to go out there and solicit the business. Bringing samples of your soap like these. If you're going to sell this soap, bring the sample of the soap with you, wrapped, packaged, and labeled. And, bring it back. Let them try it. Give them a nice general scent that they want to try. And then follow up with a phone call. If they're interested, give them a price sheet of what you're going to be selling it for, what your minimums are, what your fragrance oils are, things like that, and you can have a contract. I don't have contracts with my wholesale accounts. I know my wholesale accounts. I've been working with them for years now, and some people want contracts. I don't feel that I need one. If they don't want to buy it anymore, I can't force them. And I'm not going to. So I do get paid the minute I deliver the product, which is very nice. And that's what you should do with the minute you drop it off. My soaps are fresh. My soaps haven't been sitting on the shelf because when this customer orders 50 to 100 bars, they're going to be sitting on their shelves for probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that's why I try to make it as fresh as possible. I try to make it that these soaps are going to be nice and strong and fragrance with them for the next 4 weeks until they sell them. So that's why I do that. I also tell them that I need at least 5, my customers know, my wholesale accounts know, I need 5 working days to process an order. And that's just for me. And then usually what I'll do is I'll get it there before that. And I like that because then that way they know that they can trust me to get it out. But anyways, wholesale accounts are great. If you're going to do log molds, I suggest when you make the log mold, it's something that you can replicate, you can duplicate over and over again. Customers are a creature of habit. They like the same thing over and over, and so do customers. So, like I said, if you have any questions, leave them below. I'll try to answer them, but just thought I'd give you a little heads up on how to sell wholesale. Talk to you later. Bye. Have a great day.